we're on a roll. I think we're ready to start. About bloody time. Hi everyone and welcome back to this week's video. I am Amy, aka Fantrash, and I am here with a video. I bet you thought I was having a little joke when I said I was going to come back, but here I am, in the flesh, and I'm ready to do some talking. This week's video is going to be all about productivity in lockdown. Now, I know that sentence scares a lot of people because it scares myself included, but this video is just to sort of talk about how much pressure we put on ourselves to be productive in this pandemic and just give you some advice from me. I just need to say, I know I look like a 12-year-old with this, not even a 12-year-old, I'd say I maybe look like a 7-year-old with this hairstyle, but we're expressing ourselves. I'm a 21-year-old, not a 7-year-old. I'd be very wise if I was a 7-year-old talking about this. But yeah, let's get into the video. I think when it comes to the topic of productivity in lockdown, I think it's really important for us not to beat ourselves up over not having a productive day or a productive week. Because realistically, if the world was normal, as you all remember, if the world was normal, you would have days where you're not productive, but I think it's so heightened in lockdown when you're not doing something. You're your own worst critic, like you will be extra hard on yourself because you think, I've got all this time, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and when you're not feeling motivated to do it, you do put yourself down for not doing it. But you need to remember, if the world was carrying on as it normally did, there would be days where you're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to give myself a weekend off, I'm going to have a takeaway, I'm going to watch a film, I'm going to have a bath, I'm just going to chill. We think we're not allowed to do that because we are in lockdown, when we are. That is like the joys of life, is having a chilled weekend or a chilled couple of days where you just don't do anything, and it's important to have that as well as maintain a structure within lockdown. I think our attitudes to the way we treat ourselves has changed massively since this whole pandemic has begun. I think we're not as kind to ourselves, we're not forgiving and compassionate to ourselves because we have this constant pressure of, I need to be doing something, I need to do this, or like you'll go on Instagram and you'll see this and this and this. We are all on our own journey, and you don't have to be as productive as someone else. We all have different productive routines. What I value as productive might seem totally unproductive to someone. You just need to sort of listen to yourself and don't compare your productivity to someone else's, because at the end of the day, you're seeing a highlight on someone's Instagram story or Facebook post, but that's not, essentially the actual truth. It's just what they want you to believe. So it's always important to keep that in mind. And realistically, you can't expect the same productivity that you used to have before this pandemic, because that has knocked everything upside down. We had things before the pandemic that would keep us going, such as a change of scenery, like a workspace to go to, and now all of that is being crushed into your own room, your own home, and you can't expect yourself to have the same productivity as you would if you were going into uni or you were going into work. So again, that is so important to not compare how productive you were to the productivity that you're doing now, because they're two completely different things and they shouldn't be compared in the slightest. My phone is dying, but that's okay. I will speed it up. Everyone is doing the best that they can given the circumstances, so it's important for you to remember that for yourself. You are doing, oh my god, I need to stop pointing. You are doing the best that you can given the circumstances, and you should be so proud of yourself for this. You're making it through a pandemic. You'll live to tell the tale and be like, I remember the pandemic. You should be proud of yourself for getting this far, because it's a bloody big accomplishment. Give yourself a pat on the back. Go on. Breaking the fourth wall, love to see it. The more time you spend beating yourself up about not being productive that one day or that 1 week, it's taking time away from now, the present. You feel a bit down because you're being a bit unproductive. Okay, that's fine. Perfectly reasonable to feel like that. Don't let it eat away at you, and don't beat yourself up for it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because you can't be putting pressure on yourself in the pandemic. It's not good, not a good combo. So I've been speaking to some of my beautiful friends and I asked them to share their tips for productivity as well as like their experience, and a lot of them have said similar things, so I'm just gonna compile it all into some groups, and that's what I keep looking down as well. I have got a notebook, I am prepared. Workspace and relaxation space, and keeping them separate from each other. Differentiate. If you don't differentiate, I can't say that because I don't know if it's a word, can't separate the two, then it will just sort of get you down and make you feel unmotivated, because you can't relax in your bed if your bed's where you're doing your work. I know it's hard, like some people don't have the space to sort of create a separate office space, but I think it is important, if you can, to try and find that and get that office space sorted for you, because it really helps. I also think having a clean room is essential. Now, for those messy people out there, I know this is hard to hear. It's not my philosophy because I didn't come up with it, but I read something and it said a cluttered room is a cluttered mind, and I agree with that. Like, when you've got so much stuff, or like if stuff's unorganised and you're trying to work in it, that's not going to give you any motivation whatsoever, and you're going to feel overwhelmed by it. You can feel overwhelmed by your surroundings. It sounds so simple, but honestly, getting yourself organised, getting your workspace organised is crucial for having that motivation and productivity in lockdown. Also, planning what you're going to do each day, even if it's a little to-do list, can help so much, because when you wake up and you're just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing today, you're not going to feel productive. Whereas if you set yourself, you're like, right, okay, today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do that. It gives you something, it gives you some sort of a structure, which we will go on to later. Also, many people struggle with deadlines, and you know, they can only work essentially when there is a deadline looming over them, and it's the deadline's like, right, you're doing tomorrow, and everyone's like, right, okay, I'll do it now. So again, sort of making mental deadlines for yourself. Obviously not putting too much pressure on these mental deadlines. You know, if you miss your mental deadlines, fine. But like, by the end of this week, I want to have done this, this and this. Especially when everyone's just a bit lost. Everyone's like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. You're giving yourself them goals. Also, a bit of relaxing music while you're doing your work doesn't go amiss, you know. Spotify's got some glamorous playlists. It can sort of distract, because I live in a student house, and there's a lot of shouting next door. Bit of relaxing music on, muffled shouting in the background. Work environment complete. Obviously, when you're in your workspace, it's quite common to sort of overwork yourself, and then that in turn burns you out. You have to sort of set time to do your work and set time to relax. You can't just focus it purely on work, because you will burn yourself out and more or less be less productive than you would if you just broke your work into manageable bits that you can come back to, leave and come back to again. People that I know who have been working from home since March last year, they're struggling, because they're not in an office where they can chat to people, or in uni, like uni is very sociable, and now it's like we can't even go into lectures and chat after lectures like we'd normally do. So I think a change of scenery is very important where you can. Changing scenery moves us on to the next section, which is structure. Structure. I think it's very hard to have structure in this lockdown, because at least when the world was normal, and that's the catchphrase of the video, we had things that we had to do, like go to work, go to uni, which was a structure, whereas now that's sort of been abandoned and we're all just like, oh, what do we do? So I think having a structure is so important. I find setting small manageable goals really just, it helps break up the day, even if it's brushing your teeth or combing your hair or just getting dressed. Like, you should be so proud of yourself for doing that, because people find it hard, especially now. You do that, just give yourself a pat on the back. Another one, I know, give yourself another pat on the back, because like, it's the small things that you have to celebrate in life. You can't go your whole life like waiting for big things to happen to then celebrate it. Like, celebrate waking up today, celebrate being with your family or having amazing people in your life. You need to sort of focus on the little celebrations, which is essentially small manageable stuff. Anything is productive. So give yourself a pat on the... Oh, I need to stop saying give yourself a pat on the back. Fucking hell, your back be killing. Give yourself a bit more credit. Having consistency, so maybe going on a walk every day, even if it's just a small one, at the same time, or having breakfast at a certain time, waking up at a certain time and going to bed at a certain time. That consistency will give you structure to your day. Just little things like that, like you're making your own structure, and by doing things at a certain time every day, it has that sense of normality that we used to have. Even if it's a call with a friend, structure that into your day. What a great idea. So another tip, make your bed as soon as you wake up. Otherwise, you're tempted to go back in. And I know I'm guilty, you know, of this, but, you know, when the bed's made, that's not stopping you from getting back in. But there's more of a resistance. There's this is wrong, I shouldn't be getting back in bed, I've only just made it. Whereas if you don't make it, then you're just tempted to slip back in. Yeah, I find making my bed of a morning is, you know, gets me out of bed. I'm like, right, well, the bed's made now, so guess I'll have to go downstairs. So yeah, making your bed is pretty good as well. God, my phone's gonna die. This is not good. A good thing for structure is sort of limiting time on your phone. I know it's easier said than done because phones are addicting. Once you find yourself scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook for hours and hours and hours, that removes the structure to your day because you don't feel as productive, again, which is, you know, title of this video, you don't feel as productive when you go on Instagram. I'm not like an anti social media, like, because I go on social media a lot, but like it is sort of being aware of how much time you are spending on it and limiting that time best that you can. Listen to your body, listen to what your body is telling you. If your body needs sleep away, because it's so important, because your body will tell you what it needs in little signs. Sore back, you know, stop sleeping in a weird position. But yeah, like your body is like sort of the biggest indicator of what it needs. If it needs sleep. There's nothing bad about needing more sleep than normal. That goes the same for exercise, because I know a lot of people at the moment are exercising and a lot of people aren't, and there is no right or wrong at all. And again, this goes back to comparing yourself to other people. When you're like, oh, someone's been really productive to go for a run today, I wish I could do that. But it's like, no, you don't want to do that. You don't have to force yourself to do it. If you feel like you want to exercise away, and if you don't, that is fine too. You can't keep putting this pressure on yourself that I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to be like other people, because it's just going to make you unhappy, and I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to be happy. Listen to what your body says. If it needs food, if you're just snacking loads, maybe it needs bigger meals. If your body wants garlic bread at 1 o'clock in the morning, listen to what your body says. Maybe don't, actually. You've got this. I believe in you. My hands, man, I just need to stop. And you should be so proud of yourself. Honestly, you should be so proud of yourself. And if no one's told you that today, I'm proud of you. I am really proud. You are doing the best that you can given the circumstances. Please just be kind to yourself. Treat yourself like you would a little 4-year-old. Because you are the same 4-year-old that you were when you were 4. Does that make sense? Don't know. Yeah. You wouldn't be cruel to the child if they weren't doing stuff, so don't be cruel to yourself. You know what I mean? Cut yourself some slack. Just know that it's okay to not be productive. You've got to put your mental health first. Once that's okay, then we can focus on being productive. But right now, this little brain up here, you need to get it okay. You need to get it in a good space, good headspace. Give yourself compassion. That's the biggest thing. We need to give ourselves compassion and kindness. And once we start doing that, the world is just a happier place. Okay, I'll love you and leave you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for another one. And I will see you very soon. Take care of yourself. Bye.